What's up, YouTubers? This is your boy, Big Metroid Fan 12, coming to you with another video game review. And in this review, I'm going to talk about the game Back to the Future, the game which was released on the PC, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and then the Nintendo Wii by Telltale Games. Now, the game, of course, is based off of the Back to the Future movie trilogy starring Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd and everything. Now, the plot pretty much takes place 6 months after Back to the Future Part 3, you know what I'm saying? Where Doc Brown just went missing for like 6 months, you know what I'm saying? And there ended up being this court order for the sale of Doc Brown's house and his the stuff that was in his house and everything. And through of course, and then Marty McFly's father George was in charge of the state sale and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And like out of nowhere, the DeLorean returns only with Einstein, which is Doc Brown's dog and everything, but there was no driver in it. You know what I'm saying? So there was also like a note and a woman's shoe in it also. So Marty went to investigate what like happened to Doc Brown and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So he used the DeLorean to like travel back to 1932 to really find out what happened to Doc Brown and stuff. Now, and save him, of course. Now the game is divided up into like 5 episodes, which are called "It's About Time," "Get Tannin," "Citizen Brown," "Double Vision," and "Out of Time." Now the main plot of "It's About Time" is where Marty finds out that Doc Brown was arrested for burning down the speakeasy, and he's struck. And Marty tries to break him out of jail, but in order to do that, he tried to convince Doc Brown's younger self to use a rocket that he was building to bust out Doc Brown and stuff, and get Tannen. Marty pretty much was like kind of like disappearing and stuff, and Doc told him that he read a newspaper that said that Marty McFly's grandfather Arthur McFly was murdered by Kid Tanner, who is Biff's father and stuff. So they tried to go back and try to prevent that murder from taking place. You know what I'm saying? Now, now in Citizen Brown, Marty goes back to 1986, but he pretty much quick to find out that it was like an alternative 1986 where Kid Tanner was like wasn't in jail and he was running one of the a crime family in California and stuff, and and they try to go back to 1932 to where Doc told Marty he was where Kid Tanner was arrested for on a certain day. So they trying to make sure the person there that turned Kid Tanner in actually do it. You know what I'm saying? And in the episode 3, Double Vision, Marty finds himself in a lot of in a world of trouble because of the consequences of him and Doc Brown going to 1932 and everything. So they try to fix it. You know what I'm saying? And out of time, pretty much, which is the final episode of the game, Marty finds out that Atlas Atlas Strickland pretty much burnt down Hill Valley. So they of course they have to go back the day before she actually burns down burns down Hill Valley and prevent her from doing so and everything. Now, it pretty much when you play through all 5 episodes, you pretty what you do is pretty much collect a list of items and use them in each episode to pretty much progress to throughout the course of the game and stuff like that. And you also have to talk to different people throughout the course of the game, like Dot Brown, Agnes Strickland, and other characters. You know what I'm saying? Now, some of the items that you get throughout the course of the game are items like an antenna, 1932 newspaper, or like Artie McFly's hat, stuff like that, and everything. And when you talk to different people, you pretty much have to pick the right response to really like progress to the game to get like more information and stuff. And when you also pretty much, like I say, you talk to different people. You know what I'm saying, like different and stuff like that. And the only other characters from the movie that really make a return in this game is Marty's girlfriend Jennifer and Biff Tannen himself, outside of Marty and Doc and Einstein and stuff. And it is worth noting that Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Claudia Wells, and Thomas Wilson pretty much lend their voices to the characters that they made famous in Back to the Future. But it is worth noting that Michael J. Fox lent his voice to Marty in the last episode of the game and stuff. And, pretty much, and you also pretty much spend the game talking to different characters, doing quick time events, finding and using items to pretty much progress to the whole game. You know what I'm saying? Now, pretty much for us, the graphics and the design, they're pretty good and everything, and it has some nice color palettes to them too, and everything. Now the controls and gameplay are pretty straightforward. You know what I'm saying? Plus, it's not one of those games that you have to ask yourself what I'm supposed to do next. All you have to do is pay attention to the surroundings and try to highlight like specific items to progress to the next part. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're trying to talk to somebody or grab a specific item and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Now, the soundtrack of the game is pretty much the soundtrack from the Back to the Future trilogy, which is a big plus in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because the soundtrack for the movie is pretty good, so why not you use it in the game and stuff? Excuse me on that one. The plot and the character development for Back to the Future is pretty noticeable, mainly because the co-writer and producer for Back to the Future, Bob Gale, pretty much was the consultant for the game, which is a big plus in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like because Back to the Future, the game ended up being a faithful adaptation of the Back to the Future trilogy and stuff. And I'm glad that Bob Care wasn't a consultant for this game and stuff. Now, pretty much, I'll be honest enough to admit that Back to the Future, the game, is pretty much the best video game adaptation of the Back to the Future trilogy since um, Super Back to the Future 2 for the Super Famicom and stuff like that. And to me, um, this this is pretty much the best Back to the Future game that I've ever played. You know what I'm saying? Considering that Back to the Future for the NES wasn't all that good and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I honestly recommend Back to the Future, the game, to anybody who is a fan of the Back to the Future movie trilogy and stuff, and to gamers who never got a chance to play a good Back to the Future game because of the fact that Super Back to the Future was only released in Japan for the Super Famicom and stuff. You know, as far as the score, I definitely give Back to the Future the game pretty much like an 8 out of 10, mainly because uh, it's good, but not like like the best movie uh, uh, best of game adaptation of a movie. You know what I'm saying? But it is still the best Back to the Future game that I played, bar none. You know what I'm saying? Especially with Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3 not being good on the NES. Then there's Back to the Future 3 on Sega Genesis that wasn't good either. But like I said, the only other Back to the Future game that was actually good was Super Back to the Future 2. You know what I'm saying? So not only would I recommend this game, but I would also recommend Super Back to the Future 2. You know, with that being said, sound off in the comment section about Back to the Future, the game. You know what I'm saying? Did you like it? Did you hate it? You know what I'm saying? Which version did you like the best when it came down to like the Wii version, the PS3 version, or the Xbox One version, and all that? You know what I'm saying? If you like this video, don't hesitate to click the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification button. This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 signing off.